These men are just ordinary workmen, but they are winning the battle of production with ingenuity, with initiative, with suggestions for a faster, better way of getting the job done. Andrew Caton, for instance, he sorts and stacks varying lengths of metal tubing. It wasn't a hard job, but it was a slow one. As each load of tubing was dumped on his work table, he separated the tube lengths one at a time. And while he was doing it, he was doing a little thinking. He placed metal strips on his table over the marks indicating the desired tube lengths. The miscellaneous tubing is dumped on top. Then, by simply lifting the metal strips, those above 93 inches come up together. Those of 82 inches do likewise. He ran up his production from 146 to 516 pounds of tubing per hour. In Washington, the suggestions of one plant are made available to thousands of plants. For today, when time and economy are of vital importance, every suggestion for a better method of work is being circulated throughout the country to benefit industry as a whole. The Board for Individual Awards of War Production Drive headquarters is a clearinghouse for suggestions that have already proved their worth and been adopted in the plants where they were conceived. The board, made up of experts in all fields of industry, analyze the merits of suggestions submitted by labor management committees in thousands of plants throughout the country. They touch on every phase of war industry and every type of individual job. This is a machine which uses great quantities of heavy lubricating oil. The waste shavings were carted off to the smelter covered with this valuable oil. Though the metal was saved, the oil was wasted until Edgar Gaston, a janitor in the plant, made a suggestion. Perforated false bottoms were put in the shavings truck. The loaded trucks stand for a while. The oil seeps off the shavings, which is drained from the bottom for further use. Gaston's idea saves 40,000 gallons of oil a year in this plant alone. Charles Pokratsky had been removing knobs from cylinder barrels with a large engine lathe. He thought of a way to do the same operation with a high-speed circular saw, a tool on the unused and available machine list. The holding fixture also was available, having been used in another plant operation. The simple adjustment makes it possible for Pokratsky to increase his duties, saving thousands of man-hours a year, and releases 3 lathes for necessary precision work. Holding and rotating a 30-pound cylinder liner against a buffing wheel was slow, unsatisfactory, and uncomfortable for the operator. Isidore Clark designed a homemade spinning fixture to hold the liner against the polishing wheel. The saving is more than 4,000 man-hours per year, more than $6,000 per year, 1 hour and 12 minutes per cylinder liner, 50% longer life for the polishing wheel. Frank Oshinsky is another machinist who had a tough job and a happy thought. Reaming the ends of pipes to make them larger required 2 men. It was dangerous to both. If the reamer strikes a snag, it can buckle and throw the operator's shoulder out of joint. Oshinsky suggested a rig to hold the reamer and keep it from twisting. Now he works alone, releasing his helper for other necessary work. To pull deck sections in place on a ship, it was necessary to weld hooks or angle clips on the sections first. The device to pull the sections together was hooked around the angle clips. Held firmly, the device is twisted like a 2-way corkscrew, drawing the deck sections slowly and accurately in place. Then the clips had to be removed, burning off the welding metal, knocking the angle clip loose. Finally, cleaning up with a pneumatic chisel. Joseph Krobach, one of the shipyard workers, designed a utility hook to take the place of the angle clip. One bolt holds the hook in place on one of the underbeams of the barge section. When the sections are fitted, the bolt is removed by hand in a few minutes. Results? Eliminates thousands of angle clips, saves thousands of man-hours a year, saves material, thousands of inches of welding metal and the steel used to make clips, eliminates accidents. To mount a lens for grinding, one side has to be built up with sealing wax. This was a laborious job. Coating one lens at a time, layer by layer. Shaping the hot wax all the while. Burned fingers slowed up the process even more. The operator, Ann Sofa, saved time and fingers by using her head. She devised a mold, much like grandmother's button mold, which she places in a tray of cold water. Melted wax is poured in, the lens is set in place, and the process is finished. Former production, 60 lenses a day. Present production, 500 lenses a day. A flame detector is the vital mechanism on a ship, a plane, a tank, a PT boat that signals the start of a fire. Our fighters can use all they can get, and speeding up their manufacture is a vital need. 4 little pins hold a flame detector together. These pins must first be cut to size, then the ends bent to an exact angle. William Plenifish, a die maker, watched and studied the several operations that went into the making of these small pins. He studied the proportions and requirements of the pin. Then he carefully outlined the results of his study on a suggestion form and submitted it to the plant management. The suggestion is tested. A die that combines all the operations in one. A single machine needing a single operator. The wires are cut and bent at the same time and flow from the new machine with a fluency that any bomber crew menaced by fire would cheer to see. The suggestion, passed on by the plant's Labor Management Committee, was considered an outstanding contribution to the overall war effort. As such, it was forwarded to Washington and voted an award for individual achievement in industry. But it did not stop there. All these suggestions, and thousands of others like them, are fanned out way beyond the machine shops and plants where they first took shape. They are being made available to every industry and every plant where the weapons and tools of war are turned out. They are multiplying their original savings in materials and man-hours over and over again. Ingenuity has been mobilized, and the workman with an idea is doing service beyond the line of duty. The sum of millions of one-man assignments, thoughtfully, ingeniously carried out, at the bench, at the machine, on the assembly lines, in civilian work and in the home, is the only total equal to total war.